Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Bianca and I am one of the CELTA teachers here at Everyday English, and I'm joined today by the most amazing English teacher in the whole wide world, Miss Marion. How are you, Marion, today?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's a very grand introduction.
Yes, thank you very much. I have to say the same about you, of course, Bianca, because I know you're a fantastic teacher. We have a great team here at Everyday English, don't we? It really is a pleasure to do what we're doing. I'm fine today, thank you very much. I'm
one of the questions before you answer that I've been asking my students this week is, we're getting fed up of saying, how are you? I'm fine. So I'm asking people, what's your internal weather?
Oh, good question.
So it's making us think about how we're feeling in a different way and practicing our vocabulary. So what's your internal weather today, Marion?
Well, today and in general, I have to say my internal weather is quite calm and sunny, and there's a sort of feeling of not expecting any bad weather in the near future. For all that what it looks like outside.
It just looks cold outside in Northampton.
Yes, here in Dunstable we've got some sunshine, which is nice, but it is definitely cold. It tried a little bit to snow yesterday. We had a little sort of sugary coating of snow, but that was it. What about you, Bianca? How's your internal weather?
I'm feeling like a snowstorm, but that's not a bad thing. What that means is you know when the snow comes down and then it all melts and then everything is clean. So I feel like I'm cleaning. So I'm mostly cleaning today. I'm feeling like, let's have a spring clean in January.
Yeah.
You know when you keep seeing bits of your Christmas tree, but you've missed. Yeah, despite doing the hoovering all the time. You're like, how did this twig or this needle get somewhere? So today I've started on the bathroom, which is one of my least favourite things to clean in the world.
It's really hard to actually get clean. You sort of go from one bit, move to the next bit, which now looks specifically a lot more dirty because you cleaned the last bit. And then you sort of finish and you go back and you go, oh, where did that bit come from?
Exactly that. Yes, so we have a shower in my bathroom. So I clean the insides, but I clean the outsides. And then I was like, oh, the insides look dirty again. How is this working? So in the end, I just closed my eyes and then it all looked clean.
And it's interesting you should say about the winter idea, that we're not in spring yet. I agree, we're not in spring yet. Not as far as the months are concerned. We start spring in March, don't we?
We do.
But one thing I've noticed, that this is something very English. So any of you out there who are new to the UK, you may not have seen our snowdrops. And I will try and kind of pull up a picture in a minute while we're chatting. Snowdrops for me are the start of spring. Even though they arrive in January, when I see some little snowdrops coming out of my lawn, then I think, we're getting there.
Absolutely. I think also because we're in the lockdown still, we're all looking for things that represent hope.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so the snowdrops, the daffodil bulbs, all those little things that are poking up, ready to say, hello world, we'll try again, are really important. And I guess that's why people are feeling quite positive about the vaccine.
I agree. Yes. Sorry, my cat decided my pen was a toy.
Now, I think I've said before that I think the word vaccine is the wrong word, but in English we don't have another word. So vaccine is the only word in our vocabulary. Vaccine, people think, is going to eradicate, get rid of, disappear COVID. And actually, that's not true.
No, it isn't.
But what it does do is reduce your risk of hospitalisation. And that's the important part, because we know in the UK but in the winter time we get colds, we get sniffles, and that we get the flu maybe.
This is it. Yes, and the flu used to kill people.
Yeah, and it still does.
Mm.
And that's why we developed a flu vaccine to reduce the risk of death for the flu. But COVID, which is the flu and the cold, they're all in the same family of illnesses. They mutate quite often. So the reason we haven't got a vaccine to get rid of the cold, to get rid of the flu, is because it is always changing what it looks like. So the most important thing to remember about COVID is that it may well be here for a long time in terms of floating about, but
perhaps forever.
The vaccine can change. Well, it's difficult, isn't it, Mariam? Because there are other countries which are islands, which took a different approach, where they haven't needed a vaccine because their approach meant that they no longer have COVID fatalities like we do. New Zealand is a really good example of that, as is Vietnam. However, let's not bore ourselves with trying to say how good or bad our country is. And I just want to remind people that there is good reason to be skeptical about vaccines. Absolutely. We should always be asking questions. However, why has the vaccine been done so quickly? Well, this is because when COVID happened, because it was a world phenomenon, not just a UK one, work on other vaccines stopped. And lots of money was put into doing this. It was like a big competition. Stop what you're doing. Let's crack on with getting a vaccine. And so a lot more time and a lot more people spent doing this. So that's why it's done so speedily. And
yes,
remember,
there's a conspiracy there, is there? Well,
Yeah.
we think that's not the case. You know that it. Yes, exactly. There's a logical reason.
And also because we know that there are links to the flu vaccine. These are not new ingredients. These are ingredients that we know work in other circumstances. So we haven't had to create a vaccine where we from completely new bits and pieces. Yes, we've pulled things in together. So someone's asked, why is it good to be skeptical about vaccines? People who create vaccines are experts in their field. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We agree with this, but
yeah.
The part to be skeptical about, and I think that people historically are, is because in the past, the UK government has given permission for drugs that has had an adverse effect on particular communities and particular groups of people. So we know that pregnant women had children who were deformed and had disabilities. We know that drugs were historically tested on the Black community. So, of course, it's okay to be skeptical and ask questions. This is always good. But exactly like what you said, the people who have created the vaccines are scientists. We must be mindful in today's world where funding is coming from and who funds science. Yeah, the two go hand in hand. So it is okay to be mindful about governments maybe where we don't trust. However,
and there's the knowledge that there is a lot of money involved in this process. People can make a lot of money by doing this, which is not always the best motivation. It may create problems.
But in this case, if I get offered the vaccine, I'm definitely going to take it. I'm taking my mum and dad to get the vaccine next Saturday. So we're very excited because my dad both of my parents have been shielding since last March. In the summer, my mum had a walk to the park, but that's as far as she got. And then it was locked down again. So my mum is really excited about being able to hopefully go for a walk with one of her friends, which is you're allowed to do in the guidelines.
Yes, and my dad has also had his vaccine now. So he's only in the last couple of days, and you can feel that he's relieved. He feels a little safer.
Absolutely, and that's because at the moment, when we have 1,800 people a day dying, this is horrendous and really scary news. So anything that brings hope and makes people feel safer is good. But I guess I wanted to remind people, if you are having the vaccine, you are not immune, or it doesn't affect your immunity properly until you've had both doses. So you need the 2. Really important. Yeah, so you've got your 2 doses. The second part is that you still have to wear your face mask. You still need to walk 2 meters away from somebody. And 2 meters is actually further than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so whatever size you are, think of yourself on the floor and leave at least that much gap. Unless you're under 18 and very small, please leave 2 of you.
I saw a lovely graphic for this as well, very early on in the epidemic times, where it said, could you fit a cow or a Mini, our little British cars, between you and the person you are next to, which I thought was also a very good visual.
And when you're thinking about that space, don't just think in front of you, think to the sides. Yeah, because obviously COVID doesn't just walk backwards and forwards. So
No.
do be mindful. At the beginning, we were washing our hands like mad. And I'm just reminding people again, wash your hands. Have your hand sanitizer with you. It's better to do it too many times than not enough.
Yeah.
We were also told yesterday in the news that this new variant is more contagious, so it can transfer from people easier than the previous versions of COVID, and that the effects of it are more severe. So it's more important, in order for us to get out of a lockdown, in order for us to reduce poorly people, in order for us to reduce the number of people in the hospitals, wash our hands, keep a cow away from the people around you. And how do you do that best? By taking your time.
Yeah. The other thing to think about is the fact that we only hear about new variants when quite a few people are suffering from the new variant. You cannot assume there is not another new variant around you at any time. So this is a constantly changing organism. So don't think that we are only dealing with a static item, something that will not change again and isn't changing right now.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Have that awareness. Yes,
absolutely. And the other thing is to remember is that catching COVID has long-term health implications now, is what we're learning. So it isn't just about whether or not you end up in hospital. This is about the long-term implications on your life. There's no such thing as being too safe. Yeah.
No, definitely not. And
So,
everybody now has heard a story about somebody who stayed isolated for the whole time, went to the shop once in their mask and got COVID. We do know these things happen. We do know that you can be really safe but still get this. So
the other thing I was going to mention, Mariam, is around isolation. And I say this because in my other job, one of my staff team has got COVID. And I think partly because they were not clear on the isolation rules. So their mum lives with her sister, and the sister had COVID. So therefore, the whole house should have isolated because they would have come into contact with. So the mum should have isolated because she came into contact with the sister. So you isolate for 14 days until you've had a negative test after the first 5 days. Yeah, so you have to isolate. But she didn't. She went out and she went into her son's house. Yeah, so now the son has COVID. Yeah, so I've explained to him that what he must do now is stay in his room because he lives with his partner, their child, his brother, his stepdad. But doing it's a multi-occupancy house. And so the whole house needs to isolate. Yeah. We understand how difficult that is in terms of being able to live been able to afford it, you can apply to the government for funding. And if you need help doing that, please get in touch. We're happy to help you. But the only way that we will stop COVID is if we follow the isolation rules. We know that the test and trace system is not brilliant, but if we know that we have to isolate when we've come in contact with somebody who has COVID, that's what we must do. And it's really important because people are really struggling this lockdown, more so than last time.
Mm.
So
Yes. No, exactly.
we also know there's a chance that we're not going to go back into freedom, we'll go back into tears. We know there's a high chance that at the end of the year we'll go back into tears and possibly back into this. And next year we're looking very different to this year. But the most important thing is to make safe choices. If you don't know the rules or you're feeling a bit confused, what could you do? That's right, you could get in touch with us. Yeah, so you can email us at learn@everydayenglish.org.uk. You can send a message on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch, and we will absolutely help you make sense of the rules, because sometimes they feel very confusing, especially if English isn't your first language.
Yes, you're not alone. It is not only you that has problems understanding it, and asking is the easiest way to sort that out. Can I just say, actually, we've had a love from one of our fantastic students who I haven't seen in such a long time, and I just want to say hi, Susan. I really hope you and your family are okay. How lovely to see that you're still getting involved here. And I'm really, really looking forward to having our lessons when all of this comes back, all of our freedom comes back. And please feel free to say hi anytime you like. Lovely to see that you're still here.
So my other point that I was going to say, and hello Susan, is in February we're going to start doing more things. So January has been a slow month while we decide as an organisation what we're doing. So we're going to be doing more conversation cafes, which is great. But we're also mindful that in Brexit times, I know it's horrible, we're no longer part of the European Union. Let's not get too sad about that in today's conversation. But it does mean that it's more than important, more than ever, that you make sure you have the relevant qualification to prove your English abilities. The government, especially with this Home Secretary, with Priti Patel, who is a little bit mean, they will definitely be wanting evidence that you can speak, listen, write and read English to a particular level. So what we're going to do in next week's conversation class is have a real good talk about the UK VI A2 B1 opportunities that we have available. Okay, you will also see some little videos that we're going to be doing. We're going to be shouting out for anybody who is a native English speaker to give us a hand. And next weekend we're also going to be joined by Pel and Khadija, which is fantastic. They're two students who are doing a placement with us, so they're going to get involved in the conversation cafe. But it's really, really important now, more than ever, that we provide opportunities for people to get their qualifications.
Yes, and we've seen, haven't we, Bianca, how much, yes, it's because there is a legal requirement, but we've both seen firsthand how much helping yourself with your English skills helps you in every other aspect of your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. It helps you connect to your community. It helps you create connections. It helps you get a better service with your doctor, your housing. It means that people no longer try to pull the wool over your eyes. Yeah, because sometimes when people think that you don't understand English very clearly, they like to take advantage. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But also your your career prospects, your other learning prospects, all of these change as your English grows, because not only does your knowledge of English grow, but your confidence grows. And when our confidence grows, we can do anything.
Absolutely. So next week, we're going to be talking about the UK VI A2 B1. And just for your information, that's the qualification that you need if you're on a family visa. That's correct, Marion, isn't it? Just to make sure I get my facts right.
Yeah.
And as part of your residency, you need to prove your ability to speak English at a particular level. So we're going to be offering those courses. We will be offering one course at a very discounted rate where all you have to pay is the examination fee. And then we will be offering one-to-one classes. So lots and lots of opportunities. So if you can't afford to pay for the lessons, but you can pay for the exam, we're going to be offering an opportunity, because we've got some funding through the European Social Fund to get people through their classes. And for other people who would like a one-to-one experience, we offer an 8 to 12 week course on that. So I'm really excited to be telling you more next week.
Yes, we can also combine the two, can't we? We have one-to-one classes available. That means that you might be wanting to do the course, but perhaps you also just want some help with something that you specifically find difficult. So we have options for that too.
Absolutely. And so I'm just looking back out my window. It hasn't got any sunnier in Northampton. What's your plans for the weekend, Mariam?
Well, I am just going to try and consolidate what I've been doing over the week, really. I'm trying to not just see, I'm very bad. If I think I have free time, then I don't use it very well. I don't know about you. I especially sort of now at the moment, I can be a bit, oh, well, I'll just relax. And my dog and I sit on the sofa and I think, oh, has it been an hour already since I got off the sofa? So I'm just going to try and consolidate what I've been doing this week, get ready for next week, perhaps take a walk if it doesn't rain, a nice long walk somewhere. So no big plans. But what about you?
I'm going to finish cleaning the bathroom. That's how exciting my weekend will be. I might even then start on the kitchen. Whoa, living the dream. But likely, I'm going to go to the park. I'm going to take the beagle. I've only got one today, so that's lovely. And what we're trying to do is walk in the week 5 miles a day. And
Wow.
at the weekend, this weekend, I think we're going to try and do maybe about 7 miles. So,
every day? Or
no, just at the weekend. So during the week, we're doing 5 miles. And then at the weekend, we're trying to do longer walks because we've got more time.
Brilliant.
So we'll do a big long walk and come back freezing and maybe have a nice dinner. So exciting stuff.
Yes, but that's the point about now and these times, isn't it? Is that we need to see quite simple things as exciting or quite simple things as pleasurable.
Absolutely. However, we won't be doing any of that until after your class, which is at 1:30, 1 o'clock, 1:30?
Yeah, no, at 1:30 I have a game that I want to play. It'll be coming out on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, just as this conversation is. You can feel free to join in, send me messages on any of those platforms, and I will get them. It's quite a fun game. So I think, but you have to bring your brains with you for this one.
Oh, it's a little bit of testing.
Yes, it's a little bit sort of all about. Funnily enough, this particular game can be done with English students as well, as in people who are already English
speakers.
That's right, because it's all about the alphabet. It's about what our alphabet is comprised of, and how we can move words around to create English words with all our interesting spelling.
Well, I look forward to that very much. Thank you for another really lovely conversation this morning. I've really enjoyed it. And I'll see you at 1:30. And don't forget to join us next weekend, where we're going to be looking at some of the courses and what actually you can do with the conversation cafes. Exciting stuff. But in the meantime, wash your hands, wear your face mask, and keep a cow away from other people. Take care.
Bye for now.